to another video. In this episode, we're going to install Open VPN. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my Antlet creation here. I'm going to go ahead and add a virtual NIC to this. Again, we won't go to the whole point of actually getting it started and connecting from a client, but I will show you how to set it up. So we're going to go ahead and start this, and we are on 15. Alright, so what I'm doing here is just SSHing into that Antlet. Alright, so the very first thing that we need to do, of course, is we need to do our updates and upgrade. Remember from my basic setup video, this is key to make sure that we have all of our updated packages, as packages update themselves pretty much daily, sometimes when it comes to security patches or just basic updates. So this is going to be a real easy way to get Open VPN installed. It's going to cut out about maybe 10-15 extra minutes of setting this up. Again, this is faster because we're on this Antlet, but any Linux distro this is going to work for. This is Ubuntu 18 that we're installing this on. So we're just about done here with this upgrade. And after the upgrade, we're going to install Git. I'm going to have the examples, of course, on my website in the description, but that's going to be sudo apt-get install, or install Git, and what that command is actually going to do is install Git, because we're going to copy kind of the shell of our OpenSSH server, or OpenVPN server, to our server here. Alright, so this is again installing Git. We're going to do a CD, and now we're going to actually clone this Git repository. And what this is going to do is get kind of the setup files and everything we need for this Git. So we're going to CD to our OpenVPN-install. So I'm going to do a ls on this directory so you actually see. We're going to go into that directory. Alright, we're there. I'm going to go ahead and do it ls just so you see what's in the thing that we clone. We have a readme file. Of course, we have the OpenVPN install.sh and a readme file. So the next thing that we need to do is do a chmod on the OpenVPN-install.sh. Now that we've done that, we need to actually run the install file now that we've changed the permissions for that. So as you see, this is a command that says you need to enable ton before running this script. So let's enable ton for our OpenVPN server. So we're going to do cd dev. We're going to do make a directory, and we're going to call this net. I'm going to make a node. So what we're doing is actually setting it up so we can actually tunnel or have a tunnel connection. So most of the Linux boxes will have a etho 0, 1, 2, so on and so forth. But we're actually creating a tunnel. So I'm going to go ahead and run this sudo OpenVPN install again. Oh, I need to change the directories. Let me get back to my directory that I installed this Git. Alright, we are back. So now what I'm going to do is actually run with Open Sh Command. All right. So whenever you start this, you're going to be presented with, of course, your address. And it's going to give you an option if you want UDP or TCP. UDP is recommended. What port do you want to use this on? We'll go ahead and hit enter to use the default. And the next thing is, which DNS do you want to use with this VPN? This is, again, always, currently you want it to resolve the DNS that your, of course, domain is using, but you can use Google, you can use other domains, any domain you want to. And then you're going to actually give this kind of a client name. I'm going to press any key to get done. So now what it's doing is actually generating our certificates that we need for this server. So again, it'll take a little bit to install. But once we get installed, we can actually start creating our certificate. But what I want you to actually show you here is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see something that's kind of important here. So we do an IP space A. So this IP space A, so you'll see this new connection right here. See where this tunnel 0 right here is? That didn't exist before. Neither did the tunnel 1. So these are set up for your VPN. Of course, we have our Etho 1, which we haven't configured yet, but it is set up to actually use it for the Ansel. So we can actually assign this, and then in our router, we could actually do port forwarding to get this port to the outside world. So you can actually use VPN. So the next thing that we're actually going to do right here is do maybe a Traceroute on this. So I'm going to do a Traceroute. So I need to do an app install, and I need to actually install the Traceroute here. And that's sudo apt-get install Traceroute. So with that Traceroute, we can actually do a Traceroute, and we can see kind of where our connection is coming from. So we do our Traceroute here, and we did it to 10.8.0.1, and it had hops and it had packets, and it did that within 23 seconds. So we know that we're actually communicating with our Open VPN server. So the only thing that you really have to do now is download the client on your computer or whatever device that you're using, connect to your IP address and with the dedicated port that you assigned in this setup, and after that you're actually good to go. So now that you're set up with the basic setups right here, we're actually going to run through creating a user for our Open VPN server. So we do that by running the same SH file, but you have a new option. You have revoke an existing user, you have remove Open VPN, and you have exit. So what we're going to do is actually add one here. So we have a client name. So I'm going to go ahead and give it my name. And that's pretty much it. So whenever a client connects to this, Jones Chris is a user that actually can connect to it. So the next thing that you actually need to do is get the actual key so you can save on your device. So now looking for our key, it's actually in this location here. So it actually tells you where the new private key was actually loaded into. So this is the key that you would actually use to kind of configure or load into your device. So when I'll go here and I will let me see if I actually put nano on here. I did not. install Nano really quick. So that file you're not going to be able to actually see. So the key thing is whenever you connect to this server with that user, it may require you to have this file. So another thing you can do is you can nano into the file and copy the contents, get it into a text file, and save that text file out exactly like it is here. And then you would load into your Open VPN client, because that's going to be kind of its handshake or its password to connect into your Open VPN server. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Also, there will be steps on the website, and you can see the how-to document in the description of if you need to pull this file out and actually save it to your desktop and load it to a client. I'll add those extra steps there. But if there's nothing else, again, please like and subscribe this video, and I will see you later.